here. But definitely when you're off and you can't drop the water, then everything else is left to be desired. The recommendation for John is either take a break, because this is 2 shows from June, September, or stay on it and go into November's Romania Championships. What do you think about that, Neil?
Personally, we're going to take an off season because he started from a really bad place this year as far as when we started working together. You know, we had to try and grow, had to, you know, fix some issues. And I feel that, you know, he's been dieting the New York Pro, Puerto Rico Pro,
Long
to
time.
Toronto. So he's been dieting for over 6 months.
Yeah, and you just get more flat as the time goes on.
How many Olympias has he done?
I'm not too sure. I think John's probably done maybe 4 Olympias,
He
5.
he actually turned pro right here in Las Vegas by winning the USA Championships overall. And he's not a big guy. He's about 5'6", packing on probably 230 pounds of muscle least.
Yeah, that's exactly what they put him at.
Yeah, he's 230 exactly, guys.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have
Ladies
to take
and
a break,
gentlemen,
like you
please
said,
welcome
and come
from
back.
the USA, Juan Diesel Morel.
Your 2-time New York Pro champion, Juan Morel. He's also won the Arnold Classic in South America and Brazil.
Obviously, Juan was coming into this show after a couple of wins, I believe. Obviously, won the New York Pro.
Yeah,
and I know obviously you've seen a number of pictures that he was posting coming into the show. But I think Juan's another athlete who's probably disappointed with what he's brought today, not from the lack of effort by any means, because he was really making some good progress.
Yeah. We saw on Instagram he made a post. He had some family issues looking for his daughter. Got reunited with her, but that had to be a stressful time while you're trying to diet and count calories and train twice a day. He looks a lot leaner than he was in New York. I should say more downsized, not as full, but it's more noticeable in the midsection because it got a little bit more flat, less separation, could be a little bit rounder, more fuller. I think this is probably the lightest I've seen him.
You guys talk to the people, the fans, the bodybuilders that want to compete. You know, we worry about our diets and our training programs, but how important you have those family stress, your job stress, that cortisol release, and what that does to your look on stage especially.
I think a lot of bodybuilders become selfish because they get self-consumed with only what they feel that they have to do. And I feel that if you're in a relationship and you work together as a team and you find balance in your life, that will make such a big difference as far as contest prep, mentally and physically. And obviously we all encounter challenges which come from unforeseen circumstances. Yes, they do. But yes, of course, outside internal issues which potentially can hinder our mindset can be massively impacted negatively.
Yeah, well, again, I said that Juan is a little slight. He's been remained on his diet since May. And being a guy that's nearly 6 feet tall from May till September is a lifetime. The legs are slightly down. The quads have lost their flare. The back is kind of flattened out. So I think sometimes the stress of rising to the occasion, the big Mr. Olympia, you can over diet, you can over cardio, you can under eat. And Juan looks like a few things have gone wrong for him because he didn't come into this contest prep without any concerns that Neil just was talking about. Those concerns can kind of throw you off your game.
Yeah, you can see that Juan is struggling with that fullness. He's definitely, lost some muscle coming into the show.
Yeah, the arms haven't diminished at all. Those have always carried him through, but the legs, the fullness, kind of flattened out. But he's here nonetheless.
On the Olympia stage.
Yeah, top 10.
I know Juan on a personal level. He's a really, really great ambassador for the industry.
Yes, he
gets on with everybody.
Yeah, he's not only a fan favorite, but he's a favorite to the athletes he competes against. There's that vascularity trying to come out, but it's a little too late.
Juan Morel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Brandon Curry.
So here's the question. What has Brandon done in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, because he had to know he's up against, some stiff competition, top heavy, right? I mean, those shoulders and arms and lats, just some serious muscle. I imagine he believes that he can win this contest, Neil.
Brandon, William, Rowley, those were what I would say the main competitors coming into this show with equal ability to win the show. I feel that yesterday, structurally, just an absolute beautiful art, especially his upper body.
Look at those biceps and lats. He's playing to his strength. You see how he's doing the lunging poses? We were talking about his hamstrings being slight. He's choosing poses to accentuate his strengths, and they're working right now.
You see some feathers starting to develop in the tris as they bow down, but they are just really sweeping like they're almost hamstrings. Those triceps are huge.
Yeah, Brandon is a former Arnold Classic champion. He also won over in New Zealand and in Australia, the Arnold Classic there as well. Was the very first Arnold Classic champion in Brazil. So he's got 3 of those titles on 3 different continents, but the one that he's here to get remains to be seen. I'm going to find that out. He's on the way.
I don't think that Brandon could be any fuller. I think he's got incredible thickness and fullness taking place upstairs, and he's also a great poser as well. He's a great performer. I feel that he presents himself what bodybuilding is on stage.
Absolutely. I got to tell you that to a man, Brandon Curry does everything right. I mean, he's got 4 kids that he's juggling. He spends half the year over in Kuwait sending his checks back home to the family out in Tennessee, and he married a bikini competitor, Brandy Lever, a Hawaiian, with the Sean Ray Classic is at, so my little plug in there. But he is very concentrated on one thing: winning the Olympia, taking care of my family. That's a huge thing for him to want to desire to get, and it's right in front of him here tonight.
We are not far off from finding out if he's accomplished that this year with that open seat.
Big delta.
Big.
I feel Brandon's a little bit crisper today, maybe a little bit crisper, or certainly maybe a little bit fuller.
Well, you weren't with us last night, Neil, but when we walked off, it was hard to see who was going to be separating themselves from the pack. I think Brandon is a better version of what he was last night, and by himself, I crown him Mr. Olympia.
He'd be a great Mr. Olympia as well. He carries himself in a very positive way.
Yeah, and the thing about it is he's still got to get compared with these guys. But standing alone, I'm much more impressed with him right now than what I've seen
Give it
previously.
up for Brandon.
And this is where the rubber hits the road in the comparisons.
Gentlemen, I think we're down to Rolly Winklaar.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Akeem Williams.
You can't miss this guy. He's probably the biggest bodybuilder, pound for pound, on stage. I always refer to him. He's just like a silverback gorilla, just muscles on top of muscles. We mentioned who was Victor Richards, the Nigerian nightmare, who never was a pro bodybuilder, had all the potential, but this guy actually delivered.
And when he does a front double bicep or he does a front lat spread, just phenomenal taper.
He's got those wide, high lats, very funky kind of a look, very unique. I can't really... Victor Richards is the only person we can compare him to, but Victor Richards could only dream about making it to the Mr. Olympia. Huge, huge arms. If you've seen this guy in the gym, you know he is strong. He is a beast.
New York, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
He's up there in New Jersey. This is his second Olympia. He's had four top 5s this year. 3 of those were second place.
And he was chomping at the bit. But again, when you get to this degree and this level of competition, you start to get picked apart, and you can find out why he's not a front runner for the title. He's one of the best in the world, but he's not in the conversation. The feathers are coming out on the quads. You can see the long torso, lacking a lot of detail throughout the midsection. The skin is very, very thick, and it needs a little bit more separation, especially when you get to the triceps and the back. When he turns around in the rear, you'll see that the detail is not going to be there. He's aware of all these criticisms. It's just the structure and the genetics, right? There's only so much you can do. He can get on the treadmill and he can go on a keto diet and drop all of his carbohydrates, and he still won't have the graininess of a Dorian Yates or a James Flex Lewis.
Yeah, and unfortunately, genetics do play a big role. But obviously, living that lifestyle. I mean, Sean, your physique, when you were an athlete, you were a consistent athlete. I remember you had one bad Olympian show, and you took that experience and you came back and you were consistent because you were living the lifestyle, you were making the choices, you you're making the changes, you were disciplined, and that it makes a massive, but that can make a big change as far as genetics is concerned. Dorian Yates did not have the best genetics in the world, but that guy was a machine.
Yeah, he made the best out of what he had, and he took it to a whole nother level. But again, there's not a lot of guys out there willing to do what Dorian Yates did, or even sacrifice what he sacrificed. Ronnie Coleman was the only other guy that would go down there to the deep end of the pool and swim with the sharks. Nobody wanted anything to do with Dorian Yates' style of training. Akeem could throw around some weights, but I don't think he wants to do what Dorian did.
Well, he looks happy to be here in the top 10. Good on him, and congratulations for all your hard work.
And your final competitor. The People's Champ right here on the stage last year from Curacao, Rolly Winklaar.
It's easy to see why he won the People's Champion from a year ago. Rolly travels the world and does everything. He sells out on the stage, going out into the audience to please the fans. Third place was his best finish last year here at the Mr. Olympia. Tumbled a couple of spots in March at the Arnold Classic, had a knee injury. Then he went on the guest posing circuit, and we saw glimpses of the future that Rolly was going to bring us. But last night, Tim, we noticed that he was a little bit watery. Neil, did you see the same?
Yeah, there wasn't the best of what we've seen of Rolly Winklaar. I think the best I've seen of Rolly was last year's Mr. Olympia.
Yes.
I feel he's made some improvements since yesterday. He looks harder to me. But is it enough? We just have to wait and see as he starts transitioning.
You're not reading that properly. 5'6", 297. He's actually about 5'6" and a half and 297 pounds. I mean, he's a beast. They call him the beast because he carries so much muscle. But yeah, you're right, Neil. He's a little bit flat. He's a little bit watery. I got word that Rolly actually sustained a hamstring injury only a week ago. And anything to do with injury changes and alters the way you approach the weights overall. And most notably, the midsection is a little bit more watery and the back is watery, but those arms are signature arms. They're not going to go down. And he did get a lot better control with the midsection from years past.
I got to say, at 5'6" and a half, 297, we talked about it in the opening, how some guys at that height and weight are just blocks of cartoon muscle.
Right.
And he maintains some beautiful lines and some different, that waist is a little smaller, that shoulder back ratio is a little better. He just puts together a really nice package considering it's that darn big.
Yeah, well, he's leaps and bounds from when he actually earned his pro card. He won the Arnold Classic Amateur, and then he went on to win over at Kuwait. He's won over in Finland, Arnold Classic in Australia. He knows how to win, and I believe he also knew that he was not 100% coming into this show. But nonetheless, it looked like from yesterday, Neil, he's going to be in that top 4. He's fighting for that top 4 spot.
Definitely in the top 4, obviously, between William, Rolly, Hadi, and Brandon. That is where they are going to be battling out.
Can you imagine, Tim, competing, knowing you're off, and you still have a chance to be the top 4 in the world?
Give it up for the beast, Rolly Winklaar.
We're going to see in just a little bit where he places in the world, and we're going to see.
This competition can get, and that's going to be this shot right here of our sold out crowd. All right, everybody move back.
All right, this is being brought to you by Digital Muscle.
There's a lot of people here. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
We are living in the digital age, Tim.
Bob Ciccarello taking a big picture for posterity of that massive crowd.
But it looked like he took a picture of himself. That's what the crowd doesn't know.
All right, folks. It is time for our confirmation round of scoring. This is it. One last chance for our judges to get a look at all 16 competitors. If I can have our Olympia lineup on stage, please.
All right, as they file back on, Tim, I want to do a slight correction. I kept calling Akim Williams. It's Akeem.
Akeem.
The Prince of Zamunda. Akeem Williams.
Royalty in Zamunda.
And I got to thank my man, Dave Palumbo. Just had a baby from RX Muscle.
Congratulations,
His
Dave.
third kid. Who knew, right?
Hey, he's our age, isn't he?
Dave Palumbo is the training guru, RX Muscle Media guy, based out of New York. He's not here with us, playing daddy back home, but we respect what he brings to the
Gentlemen in
sport.
place, let's send it down to the judges. Big Steve.
Thank you, Bob. Max, Juan, Michael, Mohammed, and Jonathan.
Never shine to never free, never
I have a distinct feeling, Tim, that this is a call out to figure out, you got to place all top 10. They're here.
I think they brought out all 16 right here.
Yeah, but they just made a specific call out. And I think it's hard because these guys need to know where they're at. I'd love to walk around.
Muhammad
Well, I
and
would
Michael
like
switch.
to walk around. I'm the 9th best bodybuilder in the world, but it means something. It has weight.
Mohammed and Max switch.
throughout his life the same. He battled constantly.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Mohammed and John switch. Gentlemen, spread out. Everyone take a step. Hit a front double bicep.
There's not a lot to be discussed here because the judges are actually doing their job of putting them in their final placings, and we can't influence that.
No.
Front lat spread.
Even though the judges
Side
judging's
chest.
already taken place, these guys are still battling because they're obviously trying to improve from yesterday's performance and kind of redeem themselves or find out what's needed to progress and make improvements.
Yeah, and there's a big difference
Back
from
double
10th
bicep.
place to 6th place or 7th place. We're still talking prize money. Has to be dispersed. And if you're 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, there's thousands of dollars of difference that you get back from the money you spent preparing and the sacrifice you spent to please this audience. So you want to be, as high up as you can get because it starts to add up those dollars and cents.
As well as some pretty good bragging rights. Head Judge Steve Weinberger rotating people, putting them through their paces, various poses to get that final look.
And each other one of these athletes is deserve to be here, guys, because they haven't just come here by qualifying on points. These guys have won shows.
Yeah, and if you follow the sport of bodybuilding, these are familiar names. We've got a couple of new jacks in there from Egypt.
Your
And
favorite, most muscular.
Luke Osadil is not a real familiar name because he's way out there as the Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
Mhm.
But he looks good.
Yeah. And see, back in the day, we were talking about Lila Brada earlier. By the time I got to the Olympia, Lila Brada had done several shows. I mimicked him because in between, like the guys are standing with their hands on their waist. Go back to YouTube and find Labrada. He's standing like a statue. I mean,
Patrick.
he's
Luke.
even though he's not being called
Cedric,
out, he's waiting to be
Lucas,
called out. These guys kind of relax, take it easy, laid back, but they are mimicking each other, right? I think they should take a page out of history and go back and see what the guys were doing that laid the foundation, and the composure would look significantly different.
This is an interesting call out right here. There's a lot of mass right here, a lot of shape, and a lot of varied sizes.
You spoke earlier on about Luke's
Patrick
unique
and
look,
Cedric
different
switch.
look, yes. But I think that's great for the sport because when we step on stage, we want to be different. We don't want to be the same as everybody else.
Yeah,
A little gamesmanship going on there.
and, he wants to make sure that he belongs there. So he knows it. Cedric is like a comedian, Tim. He likes to have fun up there, but he's a serious guy.
Well, he gave Luke a couple of quick pats, and Luke was about to give him quite the goose that would have made the audience laugh.
Quarter turn to the right.
There's a lot of muscle on there, this call out, guys.
We were talking about our man right here,
Quarter turn.
earlier, who's got all the potential in the world. Big Patrick, I'd love to see him stand in the middle next to Cedric, just so we can see what the future is going to look like. He's slight. See, he's almost as tall as Cedric. And he's got to do the Ronnie Coleman thing. He's got to get bigger hamstrings. He's going to have to continue working on bringing up his calves and fill out his pecs like Ronnie Coleman. And that's not an easy thing to do. When we talk about filling out, that means you got to be like Lucas and throw some weight on the bar and get serious about how strong you are.
Lucas and Luke switch.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Each other.
And I meant Luke, not Lucas. Luke is a strong
Hakeem
bodybuilder.
and Patrick switch.
All right, bring Patrick over here next to Cedric. There we go. I think he is. You hear the crowd responding to him. He's welcoming him to the stage. Cedric knows talent when he sees it too.
Front double bicep.
This is going to be a good comparison.
I think Cedric's dialing in as we speak.
Well, that's what happens. The more you pose, the better you get. And some guys can separate themselves from the others. He's a veteran on the stage. Starts slow out of the box, a little bit soft, but as he poses, he gets harder. And you can see the difference in the maturity here. Patrick needs to just put some more meat on that frame, and he'll be right there with Cedric. But if you're looking for aesthetics, Patrick's got everything. He looks like an athlete.
But he's got the real foundations to make those changes to be a real force within a couple of years' time. How old is Patrick?
I don't have his age.
Let's look in the notes.
Luke is a very young bodybuilder. He's in his sort of
20s.
Yeah, in his 20s, probably 25, 27, I believe.
Spread out a little bit, hit a back lat
The
spread.
thing about it is, Neil, when I was coming up, I hit the stage at like 22 years old at the Olympia, right behind Gaspari, who was like 21 years old. And throughout my 20s, there was the introduction of Flex and Kevin and all these young bodybuilders that made up the Olympia lineup in early 30s. Now these guys are much older. I mean, 30 is probably the average age, maybe 35 for these guys. Can you believe that Lee Haney retired at 31 with 8 Olympia trophies in his
So hard to believe.
I mean, the things that Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing at the age of 28, and we're talking about Dexter at 49.
And also, when he stepped away from the industry, he was in his lifetime best condition. And there's been very few Mr. Olympias which have actually ever done that. Most Mr. Olympias have actually stepped away from the stage, not representing their best all-time best.
On the decline. We know that Dorian Yates went out at his absolute worst, and Ronnie Coleman at his worst. Lee Haney went out looking almost his absolute best at 31 years old, and he still had gas in the tank. If he put another 5 years in there, he still had gas in the tank. I mean, Dorian might want to have something to say about that, because Dorian changed. From 92 to 93, he was like night and day. But I would have loved to see that competition with Lee Haney in 92, along with Dorian Yates in 92, and Kevin Veroni and myself. That would have been a one for the ages. That Lee would have probably been winning his 9th Olympia.
Well, I mean, that's a great question for you. So you get a guy like Patrick that comes out here, and he's up against some of these mass monsters, and maybe a little shorter. What was it like being up against those beasts back in the day?
Yeah. Lee Labrada was showing me it was possible. Muhammad Makaway showed me it didn't matter how tall you were or how big you were. Chris Dickerson at 5'6" and Samir Banu at 5'6". I took on giants that were invisible to me because I was trying to be Lee Labrada. I was trying to be Muhammad Makaway. They showed me it was possible.
William and Brandon.
And now we get to the payoff. This is what you pay the big bucks to see. We are probably potentially looking at the next Mr. Olympia in this call out right here.
And I don't know if you guys saw that as we were talking. Cedric and Patrick were having quite a moment of some great camaraderie and some great encouragement.
It's going to be interesting where they start placing these, where they're going to start moving these athletes around. They're starting to do it now.
Hottie and Dexter switch.
Well, I got to tell you,
William and Steve switch.
Hottie, I believe, is in the conversation. These judges are going to play with us right now. They're not going to give away this show by going 1, 2, 3. Like, you know what I mean? We're not going to figure it out right away. But I mean, I keep coming back to what Brandon is bringing. He's probably one of the more improved bodybuilders over the past 5 years.
This is a pose which really Brandon dominates, and I feel in his quarter turns. He's got so much depth through his hamstring and his thigh. He's got that upper body. He's got that mass, that shoulder. He's got that. And to see the width difference between William
And Hadi, we were talking earlier, this is where Hadi really is bringing it to William Bonac. So now we got to look next to Hadi over at Brandon, who Hadi is right there.
Hadi's lived up to my expectations, seeing him in the flesh, as well as, you know, pictures and videos, etc. And let's go back. He was a 212 athlete, progressed, moved up, came into the open class, made a massive impression.
You want to hear something crazy? Dexter Jackson started out his career as a bantamweight.
Wow.
He's a full-fledged 230-pound bodybuilder now and has an Olympia trophy, 9 Arnold Classic championships, 29 victories coming from the bantamweight division.
Front lat spread.
And it looks like the veteran Dexter Jackson has actually improved in the last 20 minutes between the first round opposing.
Yeah, I actually believe that Dexter is battling it out with Rolly Winklaar for 4th place.
But at the moment, guys, it looks like first and second look like it's between potentially Hadi and Brandon.
That's where I'm at. I was going to say that just before you said it, which would then leave William as the odd man out fighting for the 3rd place spot. Who would have thought, Neil, about 3 years ago that we'd be talking about Hadi and Brandon Curry potentially posing down for the Olympia title?
But this is what it's about. So this is supposed to be an international sport for everybody. And unfortunately, obviously, with issues between countries, it's forced the gentleman away from having the chance to prove himself as a true Olympia competitor. And he's really made a great impression here. Him and his coach, Ali Rambod, they've done a great job.
Guys, I got to say, I love the open title this year. And I love the fact that it is just wide open to who brings their best.
Well, let me tell you, the whole weekend's been great, Tim. I mean, what Dan Solomon has done with Tamer El Gundy producing the show, Dan Solomon presenting this competition and bringing his entire crew and staff here together. This is probably one of the most memorable Olympias that we've had in a long time, not to mention it's historical in nature. Crowning of a new Mr. Olympia, which we witnessed a year ago with Sean Roden defeating Phil Heath. This one has a little bit more suspense and hype to it because these are guys that were never supposed to win the Olympia. These are guys we weren't going to be talking about as a Mr. Olympia winner, and now they're in the conversation.
In addition to what Dan Solomon and his team and Tamer have done, 650 plus competitors for the amateur Olympia this weekend.
Massive shot. I think that's the biggest one that they've had. And again, what I was saying earlier is like 6 months ago, Hadi didn't even know if he can get a visa to come into the country. And you got to train through that, hoping that you get it. Can you imagine he looked like this and a week ago they tell him no visa? We would have one of the best bodybuilders in the world sitting back home. And it'd be a whole different dynamic we're talking about tonight.
Now, Neil, what was that switch we just saw with Dexter and
William? Yeah, to me, that tells me that the number 1 and 2 is definitely the battle between me and Brandon, just because of the situation. Otherwise, you would put William potentially in the middle of 2 and put him in the center and compare him between those 2 athletes. And there's those 3 athletes, and they're totally different shapes and structures. Look at them.
Well, don't be surprised if Dexter Jackson pulls up into 4th place.
Yeah,
because he's made better improvements than Rolly did overnight. I believe I firmly got Steve Kuklo at 6th.
Hadi's shoulders and arms were just bursting off of each part they're supposed to be.
Well, you know what? If he doesn't win the contest, he's already won the country. What he's done in his first Olympia right now is significant and will be talked about for years to come.
Brandon, and Hadi.
There it is.
And let me tell you something. They're not giving them a chance to rest. You know why? Right now, this is where you earn your money. They're giving $400,000 away. You better get back out there, and they've got to fight for it. If you come out there thinking this is going to be a walk in the park, somebody, look at the look on Brandon's face. He's like, I'm ready for this. You got to fight for every inch of space on this stage.
So this is your top 3.
And guess what? None of them are over 5'7". The last guy to win that tall was Dexter Jackson in 2008. It's been 11 years.
Brandon switch. Well, we know that top prize is $400,000, but second and third, $150,000 and $100,000 respectively.
Steve Weinberger's playing with us. He's got them all moving around like a magic act, not letting anybody get comfortable in their positioning.
I definitely feel that Williams had an injury on his right quad.
Well, I could tell you, that didn't slow him down because a year ago he was a little bit watery and he wouldn't have been in this lineup. I believe he was 4th last year, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he is the benefactor of not having a Sean Roden and a Phil Heath and a Big Ramy in this competition. Because the injury, however slight or even noticeable, he's still going up against the 49-year-old Dexter Jackson that didn't bring his A game and a potentially injured Rolly Winklaar, who's slightly off too.
William was actually 5th last year. Brandon was 4th.
Okay.
With Rolly in 3rd.
Either way, he's the benefactor. William is the benefactor of certain circumstances involving the other athletes right now. And it just goes to show you, you can't put on a show unless you actually show up. And it's a hard road to get to Mr. Olympia.
William was 4th last year. Roden, Heath, Roddy Winklaar, William Bonner.
Correct. Thank you for correcting that. William is making note of how big his arms are. They are big, but the judges can see that. Calm down, William. One of William's best body parts is his arms, and he was definitely making sure the judges were noticing. You see they keep inching closer, Tim. There's a reason for that. The closer you are to the judges, the more three-dimensional you look. But they are smart enough to keep them in the best lighting, to have them on the line so that no one has an advantage.
Okay. Now, I just saw an earpiece on Hadi Chupan.
Yes, he's had difficulty hearing for quite some time. A lot of people are trying to he looks like he's trying to read your lips. He doesn't speak English. And so what do? We talk louder, thinking he will understand. We've got a hearing impairment.
That's a phenomenal pose for William. Any rear pose, he is unbelievable. And personally, me, I have him winning the rear poses.
And you can see that his glutes are very tight. But this is where he loses it. He just doesn't have the width. And that's the genetic thing. Hadi and Brandon are killing him on this lat spread.
And they're getting worked.
And they should. This is what we paid to see. We want you guys to fight it out. That's why you have to practice long before you get here. You'll notice some guys start to shake. It's because they didn't practice the posing. It's the hardest thing to do when you're watching your carbs, when you're doing extra amounts of cardio. You get lightheaded very easy. So you have to do this at home when no one's watching, so that when you get here, it's easy. And Steve knows he's had put some of the world's best bodybuilders through these poses, so they're trying to buy time. And Steve's like, let's go. And they should. Work for it. There's the vacuum.
Oh.
Hadi's the only one that can pull off that vacuum. And you'll notice the bodybuilders are posing slower. They're trying to buy some time.
I personally feel that Williams made some good changes. I feel he's harder, he's drier. But at the same time, Brandon's made some good improvements. I think Hadi's very similar, which shows consistency.
I think that Brandon, as he poses, he's breaking a slight little sweat, which gives him that sheen.
Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line.
That was a great top 3 right there.
They didn't move Brandon from the center. That's something important to note. I've been there with Lee Haney and Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman. Chanting for Hadi, I believe.
Well, folks, you've got a chance to let us know who you like, because we have the People's Champ for your friends at S-Force. They're the ones putting out these special Olympia edition watches. That information is getting put up on the big screens, as you see, so everybody can get their phones out as we speak. This is live, being done right now for all of our fans here in attendance today. Rolly Winklaar winning the People's Champ Award last year. We're going to see who you fans like here at this year's Olympia. Speaking of the People's Champ, folks, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize one of the best in the world and of all time. He is your Olympia official ambassador this year, 4-time Olympian champion, Jay Cutler. And remember, folks, in the unlikely event of a tie tonight, we will have Brian Shaw and Shaquille O'Neal arm wrestle to the death. Uh-oh, I see some calling out going on down there. Here we go. I don't want no part of that. All right, folks, we're going to see our Olympians back in just a bit. We're going to give the guys a breather. Right now, we're going to turn our attention to our men's physique, top 10 in the world. Please welcome, from the USA, George Brown.
Just like Jekyll and Hyde. All this anger inside.
All right, George Brown, 3 top 5s in 2019, 5th in the Arnold, 1st in Salt Lake. Judges really love that fully muscled V. His top Olympia so far is a 7th. His pre-judge was really good. All these guys just look bigger and harder this year.
From Brazil, please welcome Carlos de Oliveira.
Carlos from Brazil, now living in Medford, Mass. Great showings in 2018 and 19. The win in California and the Night of Champions.
It walks with me, it takes its time. It seems its teeth in one at a time.
This morning at prejudge, I really took note of how he looks like the prototypical men's physique competitor that they're trying to model the sport after, especially with the conditioning, mid-back, that really tapered waist down to the low back. Not overly muscled, but like they said when they created the category, very charismatic.
Welcome from the USA, Raymond Edmonds.
Raymond Edmonds, we're trying to decide which tunnel he's coming out of. One of the favorites, looked great at prejudge. 2nd at last year's Olympia Physique, at this year's Arnold. So if you look on the NPC website, Sean, and people wonder, what are they looking for with physique? Well, they're not just looking for a shape. They're also looking for the charisma, the stage presence. Someone that comes out and, like the Bikini girls, lights up the stage with that pop, that wow factor that really represents overall fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not looking for bodybuilding. It's bodybuilding light, right? I mean, they don't want a big, huge, muscular guy. They want a guy that's shapely,
Ferguson
has the abdominals, have those deltoids, and this guy has all of that and more.
But Lucky Libra has been lucky with a lot of first places in his career. IMC did the Miami Pro for him last year when he won, and he looked incredible. Olympia, he's been very close. There's a lot of camaraderie among these guys as well.
Absolutely, and he has a lot of fun. He's very confident. If you take away this division, and he's going to be a classic physique bodybuilder, it's just a couple of potatoes away from blowing up into the next category.
Actually, there's a couple guys coming up. I think one next in Zavisa Skaden, who's 6'1", 210. And there's a couple of these guys that they make fun of the physique guys sometimes. They're not missing leg day. A couple of these guys are big.
Yes, Xavier Skaden out of San Diego, a U.S. military serviceman, just retired from the military. I believe he put in over 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, great representative, has a kid back home, and he does the business, man. Tall, 6 foot. Tall for me, Tim.
Wow.
He's won a slew of competitions. He's done his country a very good service, and we appreciate all the efforts that he has done, as well as entertaining us with this physique.
Well, coming out of San Diego, I can only assume he's either Navy or Marine. We thank him for his service, but we also know if he did a full run, unless he enlisted late, he's in his late 30s to early 40s.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is, but that's the funny thing about men's physique is that age is not something we've got around to even discussing, because we're so focused on looking at these bodies. And you're right, the maturity level for an older competitor would look a lot different on a young guy. But I don't really distinguish that yet. We haven't talked about age with these guys. I have no idea how old Xavier is. 20 years in the military. He's got to be probably 40.
38 at the least, so I'm
Probably.
guessing somewhere between 39 and about 42.
Yeah, this is a division that was dominated for years. Jeremy Bundia won this competition 4 times. Mark Anthony
Please welcome
was
from
the original
USA,
physique champion here at Olympia.
Now, he's out of New York. Had 3 top 3s in 2019 to qualify with a win at the Giovanni Paula Miami Pro.
And again, this being one of our newer divisions, a lot of guys are qualifying by a lot of different ways. So we can't get to all the shows. There's a lot of competitions for these men's physique. We don't know a lot about these athletes and their background. They just haven't been around enough to get that information like we have on the bodybuilders. But you get a diverse group of athletes in this category. And they have different walks of life that they come from, a lot of different backgrounds.
Well, and we talked about how Bikini has become up to half of a local competition. Men's physique is another half to 2/3. I know that pretty much says a whole, but realistically, as labor and body intensive as bodybuilding is, and even classic physique, these are accessible to an extent to the average athlete.
It's very inclusive. A lot of these athletes are coming from different backgrounds, and a lot of these athletes have other hobbies and jobs, whereas for a lot of the bodybuilders, it's all bodybuilding. They can't do anything except eat, sleep, and train. These guys have friends, they have families, they have kids, and they have jobs that they have to do. And yet they find time to watch those calories, do the cardio, lift the weights, and still do the business. You don't get to the Olympia by moonlighting. You got to put in the work.
I got to say, this is one of the ones I made note of from his pictures throughout the year, who does not skip leg day. He's got a great flare to his back as well. But if you look on his trunks there's some low quads sneaking out the bottom that says this guy squats as part of his daily routine. Well, not daily, but as far as his workout split.
Right. Some of these guys, they put on the shorts, they come down to their knee, and you think they don't do the legs, but a lot of them do. They are lifting and squatting. They just got to be controlled. They don't want to get too big. It's not a leg contest. That's why you have the board shorts.
Yeah.
A lot of the bodybuilders that are resistant to this coming in call this men's bikini because the men are like, they're just boys in bikinis. Well, you know, these guys are slowly eking out nice financial opportunities for themselves, building up huge Instagram followings, getting opportunities to do modeling for clothing and for these very swimsuits that they're actually in. And they get a lot of following where people want to look like them, and they wind up doing online training and online coaching, and they're laughing at some of the bodybuilders all the way to the bank, while the bodybuilders are just sleeping, and training. These guys are capitalizing on a market that's growing very fast and is very inclusive.
Now, I got to point out, as someone who competes in men's physique, of course, over 50, seeing these guys and seeing the quality of every one of these competitors compared to a local or even a national top-level competitor, these guys are a level above.
Absolutely. These aren't guys that are just putting on board shorts. These are guys that are putting in the work long before they parade themselves out on this stage.
And this is a charismatic guy right here. He brings just a lot of pretty to the stage. Ryan Terry has had his top 3s, second in 2016. He's a plumber by trade before somebody entered him in a modeling contest in the UK.
There you go. That's the thing about physique. We have all these different diverse backgrounds of guys that, and somehow or another, they find a way to make a profession as an athlete. This is a profession. This is not something you just wake up one day and you're on the Olympia stage. They're actually competing for prize money. This is part of their job, and they're finding a way to monetize their efforts and their sacrifice to entertain and show what's possible.
And your final competitor.
And he brought some serious conditioning.
Defending Olympia champion from the USA, Brandon Hendrickson.
All right, I mentioned Brandon earlier. He also was one of the winners in China in the month of November. And he also was inducted into the Dumbbell Hall of Fame. I don't know how that happened. It was very quick because he's still in the prime of his career. But the Dumbbell Hall of Fame recognizes athletes that are doing the business. Very full across the chest, got some round deltoids, tiny waist, nice abs. Looks like an athlete. He actually looks like the trophy that they have for these guys.
You know, we talk about the bodybuilders changing condition from morning to night. Ryan Terry looks a little tighter. Brandon looks a little tighter as well.
Yeah, I come from the bodybuilding cloth, so I don't follow the men's physique, but I'm paying more and more attention to how the guys are starting to get a little bit bigger. It's bodybuilding life, but they are starting to reward the guys with a little bit more muscularity. They're not so lightly framed. Like the women bikini don't have any girth to them. These men physique, you can tell he's lifting some weights.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the pec.
And not skipping leg day. You see the balance from top to bottom.
Yeah, those board shorts are pretty tight on him.
Well, that's Brandon Hendrickson. And before we get to our confirmation round, we're going to have a break.
Top 10 gentlemen. For those that saw the prejudging, you saw a very, very close contest. The judges really working our competitors hard. Many, many comparisons, and you can see everything was on the line. We're going to move into our confirmation round of scoring. This is one last chance for our judges to get a look at our competitors. So if I can have all 10 of our competitors on stage, please.
Here they come. Now, this is going to be interesting for the fans and for the purpose of, do you take down the champ? Do you move him right or left to first, second, or third? There was an interesting series of call-outs this morning, Sean, that just left it wide open who was where.
Well, I do know that this is the fastest rising division in all of the fitness industry. And some of those physique guys are moving up into this category, and some bodybuilders are dropping down into the category.
All right, think of our men's physique lineup this year at the Olympia. All right, let's send it down to the judging panel once again. Big Steve.
Let them do their
Thank
job.
you, Bob. Andre Comstock, George, Xavier, Anthony, Carlos, and Ryan.
Ooh.
Is that what you expected, Tim, from earlier?
No.
Do you think this is the top call out, or are they just kind of trying to find a place for these guys?
Ryan and Andre switch.
I believe this is just like, it's the confirmation round, so I don't believe this is the top call out. It is a comparison.
But I saw Ryan top 3 or 4 this morning.
Carlos and
Okay,
Xavier
so
switch.
he's in there.
Gentlemen, turn around, please.
Like a world of change, it helps me to appreciate those nights and those dreams.
Face front.
My friend, I'd sacrifice all those nights if I could make the earth and my dreams.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That was quick. Steve Weinberger now going to look at the remaining guys, which you know will be your top 4 or 5, depending.
Brandon, Andre Ferguson, and Raymond.
Yep.
This one sounds like what the fans came here to see.
Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there.
Raymond and Chiron switch.
Can you take me higher?
Well, Tim, we got a packed house. I mean, it looks, for all intents and purposes, to be sold out completely right now from what we just saw.
They're up into the rafters for sure.
Gentlemen, turn around, please.
All right, the champ is nowhere near the middle.
Well, from my humble opinion, when it comes to the men's physique, and I've never judged the men's physique, the calves don't really play a factor here.
No.
This is not something that they're even looking
Turn
at. I
around,
see some of the guys put some oil on it, but it pretty much is meaningless. This is a board short contest, which starts, I believe, from the knee up.
It does.
Gentlemen, back in line. Back to you, Bob.
And we'll find out in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Big Steve. Folks, a quick announcement. The Men's Physique Awards has been increased this year, a record $61,000 for our gentlemen here tonight. Lots of changes here at the Olympia, folks. I want to give a few shout-outs while I got the opportunity. We got a new crew in place for this year's Olympia production, and I think they've done a great job over this weekend. What do you think of this set, folks? Caden Riley in the back. He's busy getting things done back there, but Caden's done a great job this weekend. Martin Carrillo, he's back there. He's the guy responsible for all these graphics you see. Angelica Nebbia right down in the front row. Angelica, appreciate everything you do. Tamer El Gindi, our producer for this year's Olympia. Tamer's back there in the booth doing a great job. And of course, our good friend Dan Solomon, our 5 here today. Presenting the 5th place award is Mr. Zach Ziegler, Executive Editor of Muscle and Fitness. Welcome to the stage, Zach. Got your new sneaks on, huh? Right. I like that. Zach, the 5th place award, the check for $2,000. And present it to Ryan Terry.
That's it.
That was your boy you were talking about earlier.
I had him top 5, but I actually had him top 3 the way they moved him around this morning.
Yeah, is he from England?
He is.
Okay. He held his condition for coming so far. Look at the tight abs, intercostals, it's all there.
I might say he's the best conditioned guy up there when you see them all up there. Now stay up there, Ryan. Stay in your position, buddy.
He's new to this.
Well, he was 3rd a couple of years ago, so maybe he's new to being 5th.
Okay, yeah, right.
The 4th place award. I'd like to welcome Kevin, representing All Max. Kevin, please take the 4th place award, the check for $4,000, and present it to Brandon Hendrickson.
There.
That's a tumble.
That is right there.
That's a tumble for. He came here to win this competition. He won several times. He won in Hawaii. I watched him win over in Ohio. I watched him win over in China. This was one he wanted to get.
Presenting the 3rd place award, Mr. Randy Lloyd, combat veteran and graduate of the Performex Fit Ops Foundation. Welcome back, Randy. Randy will take the 3rd place award, the check for $8,000, the Olympia bronze medal, to our 3rd place finisher, Kyron Holden.
Wow. All right. So we will have a new champion tonight.
And I'm not familiar with these guys because I didn't follow the entire circuit of the men's physique, but he definitely looks deserving.
Presenting the 2nd place award, representing Wings of Strength, I'd like to welcome owner Big Jake Wood to the stage. Jake, please take the 2nd place award, the check for $12,000, the Olympia silver medal, to our runner-up this evening, Andre Ferguson.
Wow.
Did Andre win this competition before?
No, it was Brandon's to lose this year.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So we now know who the new Olympia Physique champion is.
And he's new.
He's new.
New. That's good. We could see a changing of the guard, or, I mean, did Andre fall off, or is this guy that good?
Well, Andre last year was 5th.
Okay.
So he moved up.
Great.
And the guy who was 2nd last year appears to be our new Physique Olympia.
Okay, there you go. It's so close with these guys.
Yeah.
And if you're not keeping up with them, it gets confusing.
The 1st place award is
so
CEO
close.
Greg Connolly of Trifecta, our title sponsor here at this year's Olympia. And how about a big warm welcome for our IFBB Pro League president, Mr. Jim Mannion. Gentlemen, please take the 1st place award, the check for $35,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the title of 2019 Men's Physique Olympia champion, Raymond Edmund.
There he is, your new Olympia champion.
And he looks like he's the biggest, I believe, since this division was created. How tall is he?
Raymond, I've got this in my notes, actually. I think he's at 6'1".
Yeah, he's definitely the tallest physique guy we've had, and he's representing a lot of guys that are 6 foot and plus.
Which I think he's 6 foot. The biggest was Zavicius Gaden.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is the tallest one that we've had as an Olympia champion. And he did what the judges were looking for. It's nice to see the diversity in terms of the champions, because I watched Jeremy Brundia win it 4 times.
Pictures, please.
This one looks a little more slippery.
They're going to take some pictures, and we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some classic physique.
Pictures. All right, thank you guys. Let's have our top 3. Stay right there in the center, please. Hold on. Yeah, that's better. The other way, you were just holding hands. Got a little weird there for a second. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to have Raymond stay right there in the center. Hey, what you got there, champ? Hey, you got to put that bad boy on. Looks like an Olympia gold medal to me, and that looks like a first place award. Guess what? You are the new men's physique Olympia champion.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hey, I just want to say thank you to everyone, man. I mean, I can't even explain it right now. Like,
how about those judges? You think they did a pretty good job here today?
I think so. I got first today. But yeah, man, this has been an incredible ride. You know, I want to thank the MPC, the IFBB, Mr. Olympia, everyone out here that just represents and support us. And this is great. This is amazing. Thank you.
Well, Raymond, you guys are actually a pretty tight-knit crew. Everybody thinks you guys are always at each other's throats. There's a whole lot of garbage being thrown out there on stage throughout a lot of the competitions. But really, when it comes down to it, a lot of you guys compete in a lot of the same shows throughout the year.
Yes. I mean, we're competing. You know, we're trying to be the best. So, yeah, it just gets the best of us sometimes. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, we're all chasing to be better, and that's what the goal is. So,
well, this is the big one, my friend. You have won the title of Olympia champion. Give it up for Raymond Edmonds, your 2019 Olympia champ. Go. All right, folks, we are moving on with our classic physique finalists. And please welcome your first competitor from the USA, Keon Pearson. You see, it's classic to wait a few minutes.
As Keon makes his way out, he just won the New York Pro, and it's been said it was his vacuum and chiseled back that sealed the deal. You talk about the new guys. He's a
I have 10 names
pro.
on here, but it doesn't look like the right 10 names.
He has one of those physiques, which is easily transcendent going into a bodybuilding, as well as a classic bodybuilder. He's got that crazy vacuum, big, flary, full hamstring, thighs, blending into a crazy small midsection and broad shoulders.
It's my first Olympia, folks. Give me a break. On the good side of things, I've got 62,000 followers since I took that picture. Is that good? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your first finalist from Canada, Chris Bumstead.
All right, guys, so we switch back to alphabetical order with one of the favorites. Everybody's been waiting to see what condition he's going to bring to this year's Classic Physique.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Nice quadriceps right out of the gate. Tiny waist.
There was something so pleasant about that place.
Chris, to me, is everything that classic bodybuilding is supposed to be. It's a blend of muscularity, shape, refinement, an artistic, blend of muscle bellies.
Not to mention, it looks like he knows how to show it off. And that's a key element when you talk about classic physique, is the performance. This is what was lost in men's open bodybuilding. And the classic physique guys are bringing it back. I see the Bob Paris pose. I see some of the Labrada style poses. These guys are bringing back the old school posing, and it looks good on them.
And you know what sealed the deal on that Labrada style pose was the mustache.
Yeah, there you go. He was one of the few bodybuilders, along with Samir Banu and Mike Mincer, Ray Mincer, to get away with a mustache in open bodybuilding.
And I think it suits him, to be honest with you.
Well, he's been second twice to Breon, knocking on first door.
Yeah, and you said he's about 6 feet tall?
6'1".
6'1", yeah.
Very tall for this class.
I think this is a better package in a better condition this year than slightly than last year. I think it's a better package. But I feel that Chris is still struggling a little bit in that back area as far as that thickness and muscularity.
Good eye.
Well, guys, didn't he have some adversity last year, some health issues that kept him from being at his peak?
Yeah, I think he has some form of immune system disease, which I feel impacts his ability to really push really hard on those final stages of contest prep.
Yeah, a lot goes in the final stages, and you got to sell out. If you're handicapped, it can wreak havoc on you. But a nice waist, right? The shoulder to the waist differential really sets this physique off.
Well, that side, look at how tiny that is. That side shot they just showed with the vacuum, the tiny waist, and those striated glutes was really impressive.
If you're an artist, physique artist, this is what you tune in for. This is why I love
Ladies and gentlemen,
physique.
please welcome from Costa Rica, Alex Cambronero.
So Alex is actually one of my competitors, one of my athletes, I should say. So Alex had a good, strong win. He went from 212 last year, weighing in at sort of 194 pounds. So it made a selective choice to step into the classic division. I feel that it was a really good fit for him.
Yes, he dropped down. I remember, did he win the Chicago, win the strip?
He actually won Pittsburgh Pro.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And he was second in New York.
Right.
Yeah, second in New York.
Coming in from the 212 down to classic was a very good move for Alex there. Neil, you work with him. Tell us about the neck condition that's going on with him.
I think he's had an injury in the past and a nerve impingement. So if his head goes straight, it impacts his vision. And for me personally, I find it pretty frustrating because a lot of people comment about his neck as opposed to looking at his physique.
Yeah.
Because he is a great athlete.
No, there's no question. There's just a lot of people have that question more to know its origins. Kind of tilts his head to the one side all the time.
Now, what did you do from one show to the next to get him in this Olympia shape?
It was just basically a manipulation of food. I took him out of the gym quite a bit, to be honest with you, because we dieted for quite some time. Because obviously going into the Pittsburgh Pro, going into the New York Pro, took him out of the gym for quite some time. And then obviously we slowly transcended back into obviously pre-contest prep for this show.
Well, Neil, I'm not a trainer, but I recommended that he drop down into this classic physique. And I'm taking credit for that. Now that you have him on the straight and narrow, he's at the big show. He was a long ways away from actually arriving here, and he's representing very well.
But last year we came in as 212. We placed 8th, which is an amazing place. And seeing he was only 194 pounds.
Wow.
At 5'7", he's giving away like 16, 18 pounds.
I turned pro at that weight.
Yeah.
Now, how much can he carry at that height?
He's up to his maximum now,
Okay.
192.
And you know what? He doesn't need any more. If he goes any more, you go into the bottom of the 212. This is where he belongs. Healthy. Looks very good.
With the IFBB Pro League opening up this division, it's also opened up the ability for athletes to choose and step into a class that suits them.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Stan DeLongo.
Shades of 1991 Olympia in Florida. That's what I chose. Stanimal, by way of France. Trains out at Gold Gym. Trains a lot with Mr. Olympia Sean Roden out there in Venice Beach. One of the more likable guys. Told me earlier today that he missed his peak. And again, Neil, it is about timing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, because I saw pictures that he was posting on a social outlet leading to the show, and definitely sort of probably like 3 to 5 days ago. He looked like he was very much on, but that's the science, and I know sometimes your body doesn't do what it has done in the past. So everything's about learning curve. So even for some of these athletes, which have maybe missed their peak, if they can actually sort of hone in and find out what it is, it allows them to learn more about themselves.
And you know what? He's very good. He was telling me what he knew he had to do, and yet he still knew this was coming. This performance round was coming, and he's very content with what he brought, considering he missed his peak.
Well, and that's one of my favorite poses right there. Considering he missed his peak, guys, he's top 10 in a very, very stacked class.
And if you look at the Olympia's classes in general, everybody wants to try and crack that top 10, yes? And then you want to try probably get into that top 6.
Yeah, you can only imagine if he was 11th, it might be devastating considering he would not be able to perform this routine, and here he is on the main stage tonight.
And there's a lot of people in this packed house that wouldn't be able to air drum, because that's mandatory.
Right, I remember.
In the air tonight.
Mike Tyson made that famous.
Do you know what's going to really be interesting is that even though he's missed his peak, he's still hard. He's still got a good level of separation and refinement. So it will be very interesting to see what the top 10 classic bodybuilders look like as far as condition compared to the open men.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from China, Chen Kang.
All right, this was the guy we were talking about, Neil. He's the very first Chinese athlete, period, to make it to the Mr. Olympia weekend. And it looks like, did he walk here with those quads? Do you see how big his legs are?
Okay, they call him Branch for a reason.
Yeah.
And not because he's part of a tree, because he's got legs like Branch Warren.
Good grief.
I really would like to see him potentially grow into the 212 division.
Yeah, he's definitely made for the 212 and could wreak havoc. But right now, slight film on the hamstring and on the backside, but he's got a very nice classic structure. But he looks like he's built for a body. I very rarely see Asians with legs that fully developed. Yeah. We're seeing something here for the very first, actually it's history.
Wow.
For the very first time, representing a whole country that has billions of people in it.
Now, Neil, having trained the, 7-time classic, the 212 Olympian.
Yeah.
Do you actively recruit? Do you walk up to a guy like that and say, or do you wait for people to come to you and say, I'm ready to come to another level and I think you're the guy?
I've never asked an athlete to work with them because most athletes have trainers, and I would not be disrespectful enough to step on somebody else's toes. The way I look at it is, if an athlete is interested in working with me, then obviously I would certainly consider it if they come to me, but I certainly wouldn't go to somebody else. If this gentleman didn't have a trainer, I would love to take him on my wing, but I think he's working with George, I think.
Chen Kang, welcome. You put on a heck of a show and brought a beautiful physique to the table here for you.
Man, that
And a
kid's
quick
good.
FYI, the last guy, Stanimal, he's actually moving into the open bodybuilding
Ladies and
next
gentlemen,
year.
please welcome
This
from
kid,
the USA.
if he asked me, Chen Kang,
Oh, Para.
I tell Chen Kang to go to
Guy that I first saw at the Upper Midwest Classic, won that show. He looked beautiful, has a lot of great poses.
powerful.
I think one thing which stands out here is very similar, yes, Al. The level of condition is so much better than what we've seen, obviously, in the open classes.
I really think it requires it, doesn't it? I mean, they both should have that level of conditioning, but this really, you have to bring the conditioning to this.
Yeah, because without it, you're just a performer, not a competitor.
But then let's go back when Sean was competing. Those athletes were in shape.
Yeah. Right. Now, you know, with this division being relatively new, again, they've got to find their niche. And this guy right now, he looks like a performer. He's posing very well. So that takes your eye off the conditioning. If you're watching as a fan at home, You're not really paying attention to the thin water, him maybe missing his peak, the hamstrings being a little bit watery. You're looking at him getting from one pose to the next, and that's what a true artist pays attention to. He's put in the work.
This is a great division for the IFBB Pro League to be giving these athletes, as I said, the opportunity to step into a division which really suits them instead of being forced into a box.
You take this division away, and some of these guys, we've never even heard of them before. Nice.
Courage Opara.
For Courage Opara.
He's got the posing part down. He's on his way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Keon Pearson.
Keon was working with Flex Wheeler, I think it was a year or so ago. But like a lot of athletes, sometimes you want to find out what you can do on your own and then maybe try to find out what you can do with someone else. So you have that opportunity to mix things up. Not everybody's training style suits your interests. So let's see what he's bringing to the stage. Young guy, plenty of potential.
Strong, sweepy thighs. Look at them. Great, great vacuum pose.
And big, solid biceps.
You have to say he's looking at top 5.
Yeah, he is. He's legit from head to toe. He's got the calves. His skin color glistens with that oil when he hits the pose. Is great. See the intercostals coming in, and that bicep. He's playing to his strength. The tricep is strong. Let's see what his back looks like. Got the hamstrings.
Didn't really hit it right there.
No.
Here we go.
He still needs some maturity. He's a young kid. So that back's got to ripen up and mature just a little bit. That comes with time and with years of training.
I think this is another gentleman I think I would like to see potentially go up into the 212. The only question is that how much muscle can he carry on his frame with being such obviously a short guy, but he looks to me as a hybrid. You know, he's got a bodybuilding shape, but ultimately he hits certain poses like that vacuum.
Like that.
Really comes alive as a classic bodybuilder.
Absolutely.
Well, that really makes you wonder, you know, I wasn't there for weigh-ins. Like most guys in Classic, is he topping out his weight for height ratio, or does he have a little bit more room in this class?
I would say he's probably topping off. I think say he's probably been struggling to get into that class.
Thank you, Keon.
You also got to remember the mindset. When you say classic physique, these guys are
Ladies and
sculpting their
gentlemen,
bodies,
please
not
welcome
building
from
their
the
bodies, you know?
USA, George Peterson.
A bodybuilder builds. That's what you go in the gym to just get big and strong. These guys are shaping and sculpting. And this guy right here, I mean, I said it last year, he should move into the 212. He'd definitely be a threat.
Well, George was this year's Arnold Classic winner.
And winning a classic physique as big as the Arnold Classic, you stay in the classic. It's, you know, he's found his niche, but he looks like a bodybuilder to me. Nice from elbow to elbow. All of the meat and potatoes are there. Tiny waist. Short Kai Green-like torso. We're talking about that, about Williams. But you can see how flat his stomach wall is and how round the quadriceps are.
Put a great level of conditioning him and his coach. And they've done a really great job. Again, showed consistency, so it shows that they really working well together as an athlete and coach.
You know, I'm really a firm believer about the stomach. It's the focal point of the physique. And you'll notice on all of these physique guys, classic physique guys, their stomach, they keep it tight, they keep it right throughout the transitions and everything else. That's what I'd like to see brought back to open bodybuilding.
Here's the all-important back shots. Oh, that's some nice detail.
Yeah, he's got some lats too. You look how low they come down on his lower half. They come all the way to his waist.
This is probably the best I think I've seen George possibly.
It's a beautiful back double by.
He's got it all. You see the traps, you see the delts, you see the abs when he flexes, the feathers on the quadriceps. It's all there. The hamstrings are a little bit slight, but again, we're looking at classic physique. This is not open bodybuilding, so you don't have to have the extreme that we typically look for when we're at the 212 in the open category.
I'd also like to see him step into the 212 division because he's probably weighing in about 192-ish, I guess. for his height, I'm guessing, thereabouts. So you can see that the more muscle in the right places, his physique is going to look
George
Give him 10 pounds of muscle, and he's going to be a threat.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Arash Rabar.
Now, Arash has been posting on his socials as well, and those updates have been pretty impressive. So it's going to be interesting to see how that translates to the stage.
Yeah, I saw Arash in pre-judging, and he brought a better package this year than last year when he stepped on stage. He's made some improvements.
He's another performer. He takes his posing serious.
And if I remember rightly, he came second when they introduced the first classic bodybuilding division into the Olympia.
Correct, and then it got overrun with lots and lots of talent, and it's hard to find your place in that pool of talent. But he looks very, very good right now.
I had the chance to meet Arash at the private screening of the movie Bigger a couple years ago, and he was off season, and he was bigger.
Yeah.
He looked like an open bodybuilder under the clothes.
Yeah, he has to suck it down.
That's a beautiful shot.
Good delts, nice hamstrings.
And again, him himself and his trainer, Justin, they've done a great job with bringing a level of conditioning to be competitive in this class again.
Any changes, Neil, that you would make?
I think he could be a little sharper and a little fuller in some areas, but to me, he's made some improvements to what he was last year. So to me, there's progression.
Yeah, and I would work on the lower back, try to get some hyperextensions if he's not already doing that, some deadlifts for reps, and work on the lower back, trying to lean that thing out a little bit.
And unfortunately, he's a little straight in his torso, and I'm seeing a little bit more thigh development, a little bit more thickness in the areas.
That classic sweep is so important to get that tiny waist and that big chest.
Well, yeah, you see what he's up against. I mean, there's depth here. There's not a couple of guys that can win this.
I do like his look.
I like his selection of poses. He's going for it. Very nice.
That's a good end.
Wow. Arash Rabar, folks.
All right. Thank you, Arash. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the USA, Danny Younan.
All right, Danny was 6th last year. He was on the bubble. Good placings in 2018.
I feel Danny just missed his peak a little bit soft, a little bit of water film running through his physique.
Yeah, that little film can make all the difference in the world, especially in certain poses that other guys are superior in.
I will say the guys with the well-developed rear delts really round out that shoulder cap and really make it look big.
Yeah. I don't want those wide delts and the small waist. That is classic bodybuilding. I like his choice of music. I like the way he's flowing. He's transitioning well. You can see that there's thought and effort which has gone into this.
Right. It's so important in classic physique to keep up with your competitors because they are working on these types of routines. It's got the little karate element to it if you look at it.
You know, Sean, you brought up an interesting name now that rings a bell for me with Danny. He's got a few Bob Paris-esque kind of sweeps and some flow. Correct. It's a very natural, very graceful flow.
Which shows you how ahead of the times those guys were. Bob Paris, Labrada, Francis Benfato, Muhammad Makaway, Barry DeMay. They took the time to find the right poses that fit their physique. Barry DeMay does that pose right there. And it's refreshing to see these guys because they have to go back and study this. They had to go back to YouTube to find those or go in the old archives of the magazines to see how to show their physique to its finest because they're not getting that from the representatives in the open professional bodybuilding. It's amazing how big his arm swells when he actually flexes it.
Great pose, great routine.
Give it up for Danny Younan. And your final competitor is your two-time reigning and defending Olympia champion from the USA, Brian Ansley.
So is this gentleman going to make it a 3-time title? We will wait and see. But Brian is being consistent with his condition. His condition is definitely his signature. It definitely feels a bit of a hybrid classic bodybuilder in the sense that his physique is different. It's, you know, the shape, the structure, his insertions, his muscle belly is very strong, thick throughout his hamstrings and glutes, conditioned from top to toe.
Yeah, he posted a lot of pictures leading up to this to give us a preview of what was coming. Looks a little bit more flatter than the pictures that he was showing online. Spent some time in Arizona training with the legend Chris Cormier, who's transferred over into training athletes. He works closely with Brian. Brian looks like he has just a little smidgen of too much oil on here tonight. But he is a performer. He knows he comes from the cloth of Chris Cormier and a Flex Wheeler and the legendary posers before him.
He's taking his time with these movements.
Started out as a bodybuilder. He wanted to be a bodybuilder and jumped into competition and literally saw the welcoming of the classic physique. Didn't win his first time out. Danny Hester won the first one, and then Brian, here he is, going for number 3.
Look at that bicep jumping from that angle. It's sick.
But you have to see athletes like this in the flesh, because it's only when you see them in the flesh you realize how superior they are as athletes.
Right.
The insertions, the detail, the muscle bellies, it's just incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And look at those bicep peaks.
Yeah.
And again, that's something we haven't seen from the other competitors, the biceps, but those legs are world-class as well. And he's showing his physique off to its fullest. We know now why he's got 2 of those titles at home.
I think it's going to be very difficult to take this title away from this gentleman. I think the nearest person to possibly challenging him, for me, possibly is going to be George, because the level condition of George and his thickness, but it's going to be very difficult.
You notice his music is kind of mixed, and he's flexible too.
Wow.
Taking a page out of Arash by doing those splits.
Beautiful routine.
Give it up for your two-time Olympia champion.
All right.
Brian
Classic
Ansley.
Physique guys have a confirmation round of their own. We've seen their
All
individual
right, folks,
posing
the
routines.
judges have broken it down into our top 5. We're going to bring them out on the center line at this time. In numerical order, your first finalist, Chris Bumstead. Chen Kang. Keon Pearson. George Patterson. And Brian Ansley.
And those are the usual suspects that we witnessed at the prejudging that would more than likely be the last man standing.
Big Steve, do the judges require any additional comparisons?
I love seeing Chen Kang out there.
You can see how much muscle George has got compared to those other athletes. Look at every one of them is completely different shape and structure. But George is standing out very much like
Keon
a bodybuilder.
and
There.
Yes, absolutely.
And Brian switch.
Wow.
You can see just how big George is in this
Chin and
lineup. He
Chris
looks
switch.
like a 212 competitor.
And this is one of the beauties of the height and weight requirements, because you do get to see different body
Gentlemen,
shapes.
front double
Yeah, he
bicep.
fits into that category.
That's such a great shape and
Side
structure,
chest.
but that's going to look so much better in the 212.
Yeah, fill him out, grow into the physique.
Back double bicep.
Here's a telltale right here. This could be the difference between second and third, or we could see another shift.
Yeah, and you got to remember, again, it's not a bodybuilding contest. It is a classic physique contest. The criteria is different.
Abdominals and thighs.
We can be more critical when we're looking at bodybuilders in terms of the graininess and the separation, the vascularity. Here we're looking at tie-ins. We're looking at harmony and symmetry and flow. This is a physique contest, not a bodybuilding contest. They can get away with being a little softer in areas that a bodybuilder can't.
Thank you, gentlemen. Relax. Back to you, Bob.
And dare I use the word
Big
beauty,
Steve.
but we're looking for beautiful physiques here.
We absolutely are.
Where you going? I don't think so. Gentlemen, for the title.
You got to do a pose down.
You've got to do a pose down.
Absolutely.
Crank up that music.
You got to earn that paycheck, baby. And it's more this year than it was a year ago.
I feel Breon's look again is just maybe a little bit too strong for the athletes. Personally, I would have Breon first, then George, and then Chris. That's what I'd have the top three.
Not a bad prediction. Again, this is being judged live right now because the judges are finalizing their decisions from the earlier prejudging and what we saw earlier tonight. So this is not over until it's over.
Now, there is a big difference between first and second prize-wise. It's the difference not only between bragging rights and being the Olympia title holder, but between $35,000 and $12,000. So it's a $23,000 difference.
Yeah, you know, they know that all too well because what they would do with that prize money more than likely is reinvest it to come back, and hopefully it increases next year.
We know the fanship for this, the fandom for Classic Physique is growing, as are the number of competitors across the country in the
Thank you
NPC
very much, guys.
trying to make their way up into the IFBB.
Well, we know this is a very popular division. At every contest,
All right, folks,
the numbers are getting
results
higher and
made.
higher.
We are ready for our top 5 awards. Presenting the 5th place award, once again, Executive Editor of Muscle and Fitness, Mr. Zach Ziegler. Zach will take the 5th place award, the check for $2,000, and present it to Chen Kang.
Chen Kang, the first Chinese athlete to make it to the Olympia stage, now is a top 5, a medal winner and a check winner. Congratulations to Chen Kang.
Absolutely nothing to hang his head down about. This could be the start of some big things to come, not only for China, but actually the industry as a whole, because you bring in different types of sponsors with these different types of athletes.
Presenting the 4th place award, representing Allmax. Let's have Kevin back on stage. Kevin will take the 4th place award, the check for $3,000, and present it to Keon Pearson.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I think Keon's probably the youngest guy in that lineup. Just looking at the guys, I mean, he looks like a baby. But with the most potential. He's got a great structure, very slight in height, but he did very well here tonight. He's got nothing to hang his head down.
So I think Keon's 22, 23, or 24.
There you go, 22, 23. Yeah, great start.
Presenting the 3rd place award, representing Performix, is Mr. Randy Lloyd.
Now, will it be Chris or will it be George? It could be Breon.
Randy,
Could
please
be
take
Breon.
the 3rd place award, the check for $5,000, the Olympia bronze medal, to our 3rd place finisher, George Peterson.
There you have it.
Again, George has taken a very solid 3rd place. Really solidified his place in the industry as being one of the top classic athletes in the world. Obviously won the classic Arnold early on in the year.
That's a huge jump doing both of those shows, one in March and one in September, and winning one and getting 3rd. So he's legitimately one of the top 3 classic physiques on the planet.
And potentially stay dialed in for over, 9 months. 3 months out from the
That's
Arnold.
very hard
Once
to
again,
do.
presenting the
Good
2nd
observation.
place award. And Jake will take the 2nd place award, the check for $10,000, the Olympia silver medal, to our runner-up this evening, Breon Ansley.
Oh,
Wow.
my goodness.
We have a new champion.
And I can hear the crowd roaring from here. I was wrong on my prize award amounts, but I was right on the difference. $30,000 for top, and second place was 10. Third place was 5.
Well, let me tell you something. Breon never saw this coming because he has carried that title for 2 years around his neck like a true champion and a reflection of a champion. But what do champions do when they get knocked down?
They come back hard.
Absolutely. It's going to make things a whole lot more interesting a year from now.
Presenting the first place award is CEO Greg Conley from Trifecta. IFBB Pro League President, Mr. Jim Mannion. They will take the first place award, the check for $30,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the title of 2019 Classic Olympia champion, Chris Bumstead.
And there it is.
There's been quite a rumble amongst the fans who it would be.
Well, let me tell you, the social media is going to be on fire tonight. Whenever a defending champion gets taken out, everyone comes with their opinions, and we equally look forward to seeing what the fans have to say about an upset. You can see the agony and the ecstasy here. Bumstead on the brink of tears, and, well, Breon passing the torch.
Well, Breon should be
All
proud.
right, guys, let's get some pictures, please. Your favorite classic pose.
Breon should be proud of what he's represented in the industry over the last 2 years.
He did set a standard.
Well, he's not done by a long shot, so a subjective sport of opinion in these
All right,
poses.
thank you, guys.
They
We're
both
gonna
could have
our top
represented that
three stay
title
in the
very
center,
well,
please.
and now we're going to get
Thank
a
you,
new
gentlemen.
flavor from Chris Bumstead representing Canada. When's the last time we had a Canadian Olympian? I'm not so sure. I got to go into the archives to remember. Maybe these guys listening out there will hit us up on Instagram or on Facebook or
favorite
somewhere
pose,
and let us
gentlemen.
know the last Canadian Olympia champion.
Is Whitney Jones Canadian?
No, I know she's from Arizona.
Okay, she's from Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah, that's right.
I know Chris is going to be a great representative for this classic division. He travels the world
All
a lot
right,
with his
thank you, gentlemen.
sponsors.
We're going to have the champ stay right there in the center.
See, I'm a history buff. I'm real curious now. Who was the last Olympia from Canada? If
All right,
there was
here
none,
with the
we got our
new
first.
classic Olympia champion, Chris Bumstead. How's that sound, brother?
You don't even know how good that sounds right now. Whew.
Now, Chris, I'm told it was very, very close right till the end. But at the end of the day, it was the mustache that brought it in.
You know, I was debating last year for the longest time, and it got the better of me. But I don't think I was ready to rock the sash on stage. But this year it felt right. You know, had to be done.
It's classic.
Classic, it is. Bringing it back. New era.
Well, you have brought in a new era, my friend. Now, you've got a huge amount of support out there in the bodybuilding world. The last couple of years, you've been this close to the title. You finally got Breon because he's a hell of a champion.
Oh my God, yeah. Breon he's a champion that I've been chasing after for a few years now, and I'm grateful to have blessed the stage along with him, along with his 35 other competitors here today. It's absolutely crazy the growth that Classic Division has had in only a few years of being around. So I got to thank the IFBB, Jim Mannion, Olympia putting on such an amazing show. It's really just so grateful to have given us the opportunity to present our physiques in such a new / old school way, kind of bringing it back, defining what Classic Physique is, what it is, this division is going to become. It's going to be around for a long ass time because I know you guys love it, I love it, and we put on a damn good show. So thank you guys so much.
All right, Chris. The Classic Olympia title goes back to Canada.
Back to Canada.
Well, not back to Canada, but back with you to Canada. Back with you to Canada. Unless you're moving here.
We'll see. I love my Canadians. Canada, we brought it home. Proud.
Give it up for the champ, Chris Bumstead, your Classic Olympia champion. Give it up for your new Olympia champion, Chris Bumstead. All right, history made once again here on the Olympia stage tonight, folks. And we have a People's Champion Award. You, the fans, have voted for this award right here, live, presented by S-Force. I'd like to have S-Force and a President, Chairman, and CEO of America Media, Mr. David Pecker, on stage, please. No David Pecker. All right. Well, you certainly are not Mr. Pecker, but you are David Bay, my good friend, and representing S-Force here today. They put out these special Olympia brand watches, and David, you are holding a very special one. This goes to the People's Champ, the custom Olympia belt. David, who's the winner this year? All right, you, the fans, voted for it. Who did you like, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, your People's Champion at the 2019 Olympia, Hottie.
Oh, how about that?
I am not surprised. I mean, this guy is one of the more popular bodybuilders, period.
You know what? I hope his translator's nearby. I hope he grasps the love from the fans, and I'm going to be really, really enthused to see how much emotion this brings out of him.
Well, you know, it's nice to receive the accolades of the fans, but it's probably going to be more satisfying when he finds out where he's finishing tonight in this contest. The guy comes with a legion of fans. I mean, he's representing Iran, and you know, in this turbulent times of politics and things going on in the world, this is one of those places that we don't care where you're from, who you pray to, what political affiliation you have. We appreciate the art of what you've done with your physique, and the fans have showed him his love tonight.
And this is not going to be the end of Hadi Chopper's good evening, because he's going to be doing very well when it comes to those final places, I feel.
Absolutely. Bob's over there talking to him like he understands him. Hadi's got work to do. He's here to win the Mr. Olympia.
The people have spoken. Hadi Chupan takes the People's Champ Award this year here at the Olympia. I think he's got a great shot at the title later tonight. What do you think, folks? All right, you saw our Bikini ladies taking the stage at the beginning of the show. We're going to bring our ladies back at this time for our confirmation round. If I can have our top 10 competitors on stage, please.
All right, this is a dramatic shift of action here, where they are playing a song that is very appropriate for the occasion, because they are all brick houses.
In the confirmation round, one last chance for our judges to get a look at the competitors here tonight. And let's send it down to the judging panel and our head judge, Miss Sandy Williamson.
Thank you, Bob. I need 134, Maureen Mancuso. I need 136, Jennifer Dory.
This might be the second five in the top 10, Sean.
Marcia Conclaves.
I hear what you're saying.
This is your 6 through 10.
I need 141, Ashley Kaltwasser.
Oh, there's Ashley.
151, Jennifer Bonziti.
This is your top 5.
And 153, Attila Santiago Santos.
This is it. This is your top 5. No?
I count.
I need
6.
Maureen and
six.
Jennifer to
We're at our
switch
top
right
10, I
next to each
think,
other.
and then we come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Gets
I just said
confusing,
the
man.
last name.
It's a long
Okay, so
night.
let's do 180. Face that back wall.
Yeah, they got.
Oh, there they are.
There,
There they are.
Now let's walk halfway back and hold it when you get there.
Again, the judging criteria can be hard to know and very difficult for the judges to look this fast and make an assessment of
Now
these
face forward
athletes.
and walk
Correct,
it
Tim.
back.
I've done literally everything there is to do in bodybuilding except judge. That's probably one of the harder things that I've not really had an
Kidneys, thank you
interest
very
in
much. You
doing.
take a step back to either side.
So we got to give our hats off to what these judges do because they do a tremendous job.
I
and
need
it's a
number
long weekend.
135.
And when you look at,
Chapados.
I think it was about 28 of these bikini competitors
I
that
need
all bring
142.
almost
Janet
perfection.
Leog.
To differentiate them that fast in call-outs is really
148.
impressive.
Well, these
Isa
judges
Bassini.
are well rehearsed. They travel the
And
world,
157.
and all they do every weekend is look at these bodies. So they know them very well when they see them, even on the first blush. They can assess where someone's
All right,
at.
there's Elisa, there's Janet, Angelica, and Ashley,
Lorelai
and Lorelai
Isa.
Chapados.
Switch.
For you and I, it's almost like a different language when we switch from all the guys with the muscles to the girls in bikinis because
Okay, let's do 180. Face that back wall.
the judges see one thing and you and I see something else. I'm not so clear and certain on this when I watch it, right?
You're looking at the color of the suits, and I'm thinking, well, their hair looks beautiful.
That looks like halfway back and
Look
hold
at
up.
the
when you get
bling
there.
going on here. I mean, while the bikini competitors watching at home and out in the audience, they're really breaking these girls down. We see things very differently, don't we?
We really do.
And face forward and walk it back.
I've always had a hard time distinguishing what criteria at any show, and then from show to show, what the judges were looking for at
Okay,
that
thank
show.
you very much. You can take a step back to either
For me,
side.
it's like the Miss America, Miss
that
Universe.
concludes
I mean,
the confirmation round. Back to you.
the girl that takes dead last can win, in my opinion.
All right,
Just a matter of what the judges like, right?
Concluded the confirmation.
But the one
round
thing
of
that's
scoring.
final is that they're all
The
champions
results
tonight.
are in, and we are ready to present our top five.
We can only have one winner, though.
Presenting the fifth place award, Executive Editor of Muscle and Fitness, Mr. Zach Ziegler. By the way, folks, a record $95,000 being awarded to our bikini champs here tonight.
Again, biggest purse in Olympia history, and that was
Zach, please take
dispersed
the fifth
That
place
is very
award, the check
significant.
for
heavier to the women's divisions.
$6,000.
Yes.
To our fifth place finisher, Jennifer Dory.
I'm not sure. I think this is Jennifer Dory's first time in the top 5 at the Olympia.
Well, she looks like a winner to me, so what do I know? Brazil?
Brazil, of course. The bikini competitor factory that you've dubbed it.
Look at Zach. Look at the smile on Zach's face. You'd thought she just won. Great
And
job.
Kevin from Almax, once again presenting the fourth place award.
Here's the mystery
And
right
Kevin
here.
will take the fourth place award, the check for $7,000, and present it to Laura Lee Chapados.
All right. She's fourth this year. She was second last year, which
Yeah.
means our top 3 is about to get interesting.
Very. Laura Lee sporting one of my favorite colors. I'm not sure if it's purple blue or blue purple, but purple is royalty. I love it. Power.
And of course, their makeup is just completely on point. It matches the suits.
Yeah, the
Now-
eyeshadow is blinged out.
Sean, I think we're in for some surprises
Randy
here.
Lloyd from Performix, once again presenting the third place award. And Randy will take the third place award, the check for $12,000, the Olympia bronze medal, to our third place finisher, Angelica
I knew it.
Teixeira.
There is last year's champion, the 2-time champion, in third place. I live scored this myself, and I can't say I called it, but I did.
Is that a big surprise? I mean, she did take a year off, coming back and getting third, but that just tells you how deep this competition is.
Deep. So many quality competitors vying for that top 3 spots. The top 10 spots, the top 5, the top 3 was so close and so competitive. It has to be a point or two apart. Now, not that I want to be a judge anytime soon, but let's see how I did.
Yeah,
Once
let's
again presenting the
probably doing better than me
second place award.
because what do I know?
And Jake will take the second place award, the check for $20,000, the Olympia silver medal, to our runner-up this evening, Janet Leonard.
Oh, wow. So we do not crown a new Bikini Olympia tonight. We bring back a former champion.
Who's won the most in the history of bikini with 4 championships. I believe Janet was what place last year? What did Janet?
Janet was 3rd last year, so she moves up a notch.
Yeah, she's got nothing to hang her head down about.
Ashley was 5th,
Yeah.
so she's coming back.
Ashley did bounce back. That was a huge one for her to now be a 4-time Bikini Olympia champion, putting some distance between herself and Angelica, who's got 2.
Congratulations to Janet, bringing that medal, the check, the title of 2nd place, best in the world, back to Central Florida.
And she's always either 1st or 2nd at team, so this
Rick
is
Connolly from
nothing for her to
Trifecta
be
Pro League President
disappointed
Mr.
about.
Jim Mannion will present the 1st place award. Please take the 1st place award, the check for $50,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the title of 2019 Bikini Olympia champion, Lisa Pacini.
Oh, we were wrong.
What is that? We were that wrong?
We were that wrong.
I thought Ashley was right there.
I thought she was right there.
That goes to show you we should have an expert back here.
Where is Amanda Latona when we need
Where
her?
are you, Amanda? Come back. We need you.
She did such a great job last year.
All right, so what do we know here?
Lisa Pacini, her 1st win.
And she's from Brazil.
From Brazil.
Holy mackerel. Yeah, well, that's what you call hashtag blindside. She was in the conversation, but she just wasn't distinguished enough as we thought.
Thank you, Greg.
I can't believe I was that dense because I had her in that first call out.
Yes, you did.
So strong.
Yeah.
And let's get our ladies in the center for
This
pictures,
is the one
please.
that Bob said speaks bikini
Yes.
because he doesn't speak Portuguese. And what a breath of fresh air, right? I mean, Brazil had all those opportunities to find a winner, and now they've got one. Again.
I think you had 4 Brazilians tonight when you add Marcia Gonçalves and
Angelica
Teixeira.
Yeah. There they are, standing next to 3 of them on the right-hand side of our screen here, representing Brazil.
All right, thank you, ladies.
That
We're
is
gonna
a
have
beautiful
top
representation
right
of
there
the
in
best of
center.
the best in bikini.
Well, congratulations to her because she's doing the business. What place was she last year?
She was 4th.
4th place. That's a huge leap. Look at the tears coming down. The makeup she paid for that beautiful makeup and it's just ruined. I got to go out there and help her with the
And
tissue.
thank you, ladies.
It's the least you could do.
I'm gonna be
Stay
right back.
there in the center.
I'll be backstage polishing my wedding ring.
A damsel in distress. You see the tears and you're not moved.
Oh, I moved. And I'm squinching my seat, right?
Look at Bob's got
Bob's got it.
Bob's got this.
There's going to be an interview,
All
and we're going to go
right,
to
here
break,
with
and we'll
the
come back.
champ, the new Bikini Olympia champion. Isa, congratulations. You did it. The judges thought you had the best bikini body on the Olympia stage. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I don't speak English, and can anybody translate for me?
Okay. Well, I don't speak Portuguese either, so we will speak the universal language of the Olympia. You are the world's best.
I'm feeling so happy, and this is my dream, and a dream come true in my life. And
You speak better English than half the guys back there. Trust me. This is your dream, and you have it. You have the gold medal. You have the 1st place award. You have the title of Bikini Olympia champion.
yes,
It's okay. Go.
eu vou falar em português para você. Esse é o maior sonho da minha vida. O ano passado eu tive anorexia e quis começar no esporte para ter alguma coisa para me inspirar, para me salvar, e ter começado no esporte e hoje estar aqui sendo campeã mundial, campeã do Olympia, o maior campeonato do mundo, é o maior sonho da minha vida. Então eu quero agradecer todos vocês que estão aqui, a IFB Pro League por essa oportunidade, meu treinador por todo o trabalho que ele fez, minha família, meu namorado que estava aqui todos esses dias comigo. Eu estou muito, muito feliz e uma coisa que eu quero falar, acredite sempre em seus sonhos. Believe in your dreams. Always.
Well, whatever she said, she looked really pretty saying it. At least congratulations.
Thank you.
Pictures. Crowned here tonight on Olympia stage, Lisa Bikini taking it all. All right, folks, one more order of business to take care of here tonight. And that, of course, is who will be our new Mr. Olympia. Into the confirmation round. If I can have on stage your top 5 finalists. Hang on, folks. Before we get to that business, we've got some other business to take care of. This past Saturday night in Arizona, our friends at Wings of Strength presented the IFBB Professional League's Rising Phoenix World Championships, the most prestigious night in women's bodybuilding. Let's take a look at what went down last weekend at the Rising Phoenix.
I need 17 and 11 switch, 17 and 11 switch. The medal, the sword, the tiara, the Dodge Hellcat you saw as you walked in. $50,000 and the title of 2019 IFBB Rising Phoenix World Champion. Hele Trevino.
As many of you know, the Miss Olympia title was created by Joe Weider back in 1980. The event continued until 2014, crowning many legendary champions along the way. From Rachel McLish to Linda Marie to Iris Kyle to Alina Popa and several other legends of female bodybuilding. After a 5-year hiatus, we have a big announcement tonight. Thanks to the dedication and support of several individuals, including Jake Wood and the team at Wings of Strength, we are announcing tonight the return of the Miss Olympia next year, right here on Olympia stage.
That is huge.
Folks, your world champion, Hele Trevino, right down here in the front. Hele.
Tim, the return of the women's Olympia.
Winner of the Rising Phoenix World Championships just last week.
And those
Only
girls deserve to be here as
$100,000
well.
richer and got a brand new Corvette.
Yeah, it's been
very nice.
45 years, I believe.
We look forward to seeing you and the rest of the ladies back on the Olympia stage.
There's Linda
next year.
Kiki Ayoma, 1981 Miss Olympia champion, is in the house. Carla Dunlap, 1983, is here. Iris Kyle, 110.
All right, folks.
I was emceeing in those years when Iris and Vicky were going at it head to head.
Stage, please.
Yeah, Vicky Gates.
Yeah.
William Bonac. Hadi Chupan.
So here you go with the big guys, guys.
Dexter Jackson.
Dexter made top 5.
Brandon Curry. And Ruli Winklaar.
There you go.
Well, that was pretty predictable based on what we saw as a continuation from yesterday, but this contest is far from being decided. This is where it's going to be decided, and Dexter Jackson at 49 is still amongst the top 5 in the world, climbing up 2 notches from last year.
Folks, legends live on forever. Everybody here today in the arena, we all pay homage to the champs of yesterday, and we lost one of the best in Franco Colombo. If we can have the tribute video play, please. Franco's love and dedication to bodybuilding lives on in all of us. I am Franco. You are Franco. We are Franco. We are Franco. Keep it going, folks. Keep it going. Gentlemen, pose down.
All right, William making a move.
Yeah, and this is what the fans paid the big bucks to come and see. At the conclusion of this, we'll see the crowning of a new Mr. Olympia. And Tim and Neil, we found out, courtesy of RX Muscle, Dave Palumbo, said that the very first classic physique, the very first men's physique champion, Mark Anthony, is actually Canadian. So he's the only Olympia winner out of the country of Canada.
Dave Palumbo's new baby must be asleep.
Exactly. Well, this is what the guys come here for. Looks like they're having a good time up there. They're out of gas right now. It's a long, long weekend. You can see Rolly's a little bit defeated. A year ago, he had a little more pep to his step, especially when it came to the pose down. But Hottie's bringing the rhythm. He'll probably be in the club a little bit later on. Dexter the Blade Jackson, top 5 again. Good grief, 20 years in the making.
Well, Steve Weinberger really put him through the paces, didn't he, Neil?
Yeah, he definitely did. But as I said, Dexter, this is not the best version of Dexter, but this is better than last year, and massive respect. And as I said, I think he's the greatest bodybuilder of all time for what he's achieved and how long he's been in here, consistency, all those titles.
Yeah, definitely the record does bear that out to be a fact.
Well,
but I will tell you this, Brandon Curry has all the confidence of a new Mr. Olympia champion, to be sure.
When they're done going at it head-to-head, we're going to go to a break as they make their way to the diagonal, and then we're going to find out who is our 2019 Mr. Olympia champion.
Well, don't discount what William has brought. I mean, he's not at his best, as Neil alluded to, but you're only as good as what you're standing next to, and this contest is going to continue to be decided at the 11th hour.
Right after the break, we're going to find out.
They're sharing the stage right now. A lot of times, Tim, and you haven't never experienced this, Neil, you either. I'll talk from experience. During the pose down, these guys want to try to please both sides of the stage. They're moving from one side, posing up close for the fans with their cameras and cell phones, which they didn't have when I was competing, and working the stage the opposite side so these fans can get close to the action.
For me, from the prejudging yesterday, I had William slightly in front. Then I had possibly Brandon and then Hattie. That being said, I feel that Brandon's made some improvements since yesterday, same as William. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very close here.
It is. I'm slightly leaning towards Hottie in second. William came on a little bit strong tonight.
All right, folks. All right, here we go, folks. The results are in, and we are going to awards. Presenting the 5th place award, Zach Ziegler. Zach, please take the 5th place award, the check for $40,000, and present it to Rolly Winklaar.
Gentlemen.
Well, there you have it. Dexter, the vampire, is still alive.
The 49-year-old was not 5th.
Well, that's the question, Neil. Did Rolly drop that much, or did Dexter improve that much? You said Dexter's a better version than he was a year ago.
I feel that Dexter, since last year, as far as that conditioning, and unfortunately, obviously, Rolly has gone backward in that area. Sure, not from the lack of effort and hard work. Unfortunately, you miss your peak and it can hurt you come contest day. And obviously, this is proven here.
All right, Kevin from Almax will present the 4th place award. Please take the 4th place award, the check for $45,000 to our 4th place finisher, the Blade, Dexter Jackson.
Ageless.
Absolutely incredible what Dexter continues to do. And with that 4th place finish, I got to tell you, this guy's probably going to be back next year. It's hard to walk away on top. I left on my final 2 Olympias was in 2000, 2001 in 4th place, and I was done. I think Dexter has just got validation that he's still got more gas in the tank, and he will be 50 if he comes back next year.
You can't be disappointed with a 4th place. That's remarkable.
Knowing how many shows he did this year and knowing that he wasn't at his normal peak, the Blade condition, you know he's got gas in the tank to come back for 1st, 2nd, or 3rd another time.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's helped him not to do more.
From Performix, presenting the 3rd place award.
He doesn't have to win this to still have gas in the tank. He can win other pro shows.
Randy will take the 3rd place award, the check for $100,000, the Olympia bronze medal, to our 3rd place finisher, Hottie Chupin.
Wow.
There it is. Hottie Chupin in his very first Mr. Olympia winds up getting 3rd place, the bronze medal, which is definitely a victory for him. But again, we were talking, Neil, about William improving a little bit more than the other day. So is this a valid, justifiable position for Hottie Chupin?
Yes, I think it's apples and oranges, different physiques. Different physiques. I feel that Hattie's brought a level of condition and fullness and wide latch, wide shoulders. Obviously, that's an area that William genetically is obviously just narrow in those clavicles, those shoulder area. But strong finish, strong place. And
gentlemen, in Olympia tradition, if I can have our 2 finalists in the center, please.
It was close between those 2. That's where the contest really was.
And if I can have both presenters on stage, please.
All right, Jake.
Jake Wood presenting the 2nd place award. Dan Solomon, Chief Olympia Officer, along with Jim Mannion, IFBB Pro League President, will present the 1st place award.
Jake Wood from Wings of Strength. Dan Solomon doing a great job this year in the first year as his Chief Olympia Officer.
William Bonek with gas in the tank. He could upset the apple cart.
The next name you hear will be our 2019 Mr. Olympia. We'll now announce the winner of the Olympia. Please take the check for $400,000, the Olympia gold medal, and the Sandow. To our winner and new Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry.
Well, there you have it, fans. Brandon Curry is your 2019 Mr. Olympia, the Fiends in our 55-year history.
Brandon Curry doing exactly what he said he was going to do when he won the Arnold Classic, which was come to Las Vegas and win the Mr. Olympia. If you believe it, you can achieve it. And he did just that. And William Bonek surprised a lot of people here tonight, Neil.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of those athletes have to walk away being happy with what they've achieved as far as their places. Brandon's obviously the new 2019 Mr. Olympia. William coming in second. The first time he's come second, he's come third, he's come fourth. So he's moving forward in the right direction. Dexter Jackson's moved up a place. He's got 1 year older.
I think we're living in an age right now where this is not going to be a dominant Olympia run here, because all of these guys can take turns in the next 3 to 4 years winning this championship.
That really would be fun to have that kind of openness every year to battle it out for the top spots.
And just remember, William, Hadi, Brandon, and Rolly, they're still young in the industry.
That's right. Absolutely. And they got a lot of gas left in their tank. And we could be seeing these guys for a while until some of these newer, younger guys catch up with their maturity. But right now, Brandon Curry stands $400,000 richer for the effort and has joined a fraternity of 14 legendary bodybuilders. He will forever be remembered in the annals of bodybuilding by the acquisition of this Sandow trophy in the 55th year of the Joe Weider Mr. Olympia weekend.
How about a big hand for your runner-up, William Bonek?
And you can clearly see on Brandon's face that he ain't surprised. He put in the work, Brandon, and this is what he expected.
Big fat check right down on the ground. Gentlemen, your favorite pose, please.
Yep. I'll be seeing Brandon Curry in a couple weeks as he's guest posing for the first time as Mr. Olympia at the Daytona Beach Classic.
And then right after that, I believe November the 2nd, he will be at the Romania Wings of Sprint Championships.
Yep, let's get William right next to Brandon. Howdy.
And November 23rd at the Sean Ray Hawaiian Classic, Tim. So he's already
your favorite pose,
got a very busy schedule. And I want him to bring that medal and the trophy with him back home to Hawaii, which is where his wife is from. He's got 4 kids, so he's got some in-laws out there in Hawaii. They're going to be really excited.
Top 3, stay there. Howdy, stay right there.
I have to feel very happy for the promoters like yourself who locked him in before he became Mr. Olympia.
Your favorite pose?
I like a guy with confidence. When he told me in March he was going to win the Mr. Olympia, I said, hey, you're coming to Hawaii.
Hadi Chupin looking great. That is a tight top 3 right there. Everybody looks really, really good. Everybody dialed in nicely for tonight, Neil.
Absolutely. Nobody can hang their head down. Hadi made a very good impression by getting 3rd place in his first Olympia, a la Lee Haney back in 1983.
And with William and also Brandon, they brought more condition to this evening. So obviously they've done their homework within the last 24 hours.
All right, history made once again here in the Olympia stage, and I'm standing here with your new Mr. Olympia, Brandon Curry. That's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it, Brandon?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo! I just say God is good. I thank God for allowing me to have the discipline, the consistency to believe and continue to fight no matter what, and for putting a good team around me and good support around me. Bodybuilding, the Oxygen team, my wife for allowing me, believing in my dream, allowing me to leave and do what I need to do to be a champion. I mean, it's a blessing to have so much support and see this dream fulfilled. I remember back in 2006, my first Olympia, seeing what I thought was impossible. Jay Cutler taking out Ronnie Coleman. And from that point on, I felt like this stage was where I needed to be. And it's a testament here today that no matter what you're going through, your ups and downs, if you find purpose in something, pursue it hardcore. And don't let anybody talk you out of it. And just be consistent and proficient. No matter what happens, you have to hold the faith that you can do it. Because if it's your purpose, it's for you. So nobody can take it from you but you, because it's God-given. But I think my team, my coaches, put together a crazy year for us, man. Abdullah, it's a crazy year, man. We have a great synergy together, and it's been awesome, brother. He struggled coming into this contest, hurt his back and everything. But 2 weeks out, and he was able to still continue and be here today to finish it off. So the team has been great. Y'all been great, supportive, and we got one, baby. We got one.
Well, Brandon, you sure did. Now, you have sacrificed. Most people know your story, but you have made the ultimate sacrifice. You have a very large family. You've got, what, like 18 kids or something like that?
Just 4.
4. I knew it was something around there. But you live away from your home. I mean, you actually moved to Kuwait to train and put 100% effort into the Olympia, and it's all paid off.
It's just definitely what I needed. You know, it's a balance in life is not, it's hard to find. So, you know, being a family man and, you know, sacrificing my job for just the betterment of my kids and the experiences of life is something that I got caught up in, and it took away from this bodybuilding. My wife saw that, and she knew that I needed to be away to focus on this job, and she handled the load while I was gone to allow me to focus on one thing, and that's to become a champion. And, you know, I owe her everything for that, and it's paid off. So I'm just grateful that God gave me a wife like that understands and is the backbone. Without her, I wouldn't be here. She pushed me out the door, you know, even though she didn't want to. She pushed me out the door and said, go do it. Go chase your dreams. She told me in high school, she's like, you need to be a bodybuilder. I was like, I don't want to be on those stage and pose in trunks and oil. But she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. So, like I said, much love to you, babe.
Yeah, well, your babe's right back here. Come on up, everybody. Woo! What do you think of that? How about that, guys? Daddy's Mr. Olympia.
This is my team here. This is my base. You know, these boys, they watching me, man. And I've never lived a normal life. They don't know what a normal life is. But I want them to see that you don't have to live a normal life. You follow what, you know, you feel that God's put in you to pursue. And you can be anything that you want. And hopefully they see that example. And they know that, you know, hard work and discipline will get you to the mountaintop as long as you're consistent. So I try to set an example any way I can. I try to get these guys the mentality and the mental conditioning that they will need to take whatever they want to do in life as far as they can go. So I love my family.
We love you.
Well, Brandon, in Olympia tradition, you get to keep that. And Brandy, she gets that. Yeah, there's your sacrifice, buddy, huh? Enjoy your shopping spree, Brandy.
Oh, no, it's business, baby.
It's all business, she says. All right. Well, folks, history has been made. Your new lucky number, my friend, is 15. Only 14 men previously since 1965 have held this title. Brandon, your lucky number 15. Congratulations. And ladies and gentlemen, your new Olympia champion, Brandon Curry. There you have it, folks. History once again here on the Olympia stage. What a great Olympia weekend we had. Record-setting attendance at the Expo, at the Meet the Olympians, at the press conference. Huge thanks to the new team. Dan Solomon, Chief Olympia Officer, Tamer El Gindi, our producer for the event. Gentlemen, congratulations. On behalf of Jim Mannion and the IFBB Pro League, David Pecker and AMI, and all our staff here at Olympia Productions, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We're heading over to the gala to celebrate, folks, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., the Weider Superstar Seminar right over at the Orleans. Don't miss that one, folks. We'll have Brandon there and all the winners from this weekend. And what a great weekend we had. Folks, that's going to wrap things up here on the Olympia stage for another record-setting year. I'm Bob Ciccarello. Good night, everybody.
Mr.